In 2019, DC Comics published a Joker story so psychologically disturbing that it barely got any mainstream attention despite being written by one of the most acclaimed writers in the entire industry. There were no headlines, no movie adaptation buzz, no viral discourse. It just quietly existed on the shelf while everyone was talking about the Joaquin Phoenix film. And honestly, that might be exactly what DC wanted. Because Joker, Killer Smile, isn't about Batman fighting the Joker. It's about a good man, a father, a husband, a therapist, who sits across from the clown prince of crime and slowly, methodically, has every piece of his sanity peeled away like skin. And the worst part? He doesn't even realize it's happening. This is the most terrifying Joker story DC has ever published, and today we're going to talk about why. To understand why Killer Smile works, you need to understand what DC Black Label actually is. Launched in 2018, Black Label was DC's answer to a simple question. What happens when you let top-tier creators tell stories with no editorial safety net? No comics code, no keep it kid-friendly, no continuity to protect. Just raw, unfiltered storytelling for adults. And the results were fascinating. You got books like Batman Damned, which famously caused a media frenzy, and Harleen, which retold Harley Quinn's origin as a genuine tragedy. But quietly sitting alongside those bigger releases was this 3-issue miniseries from writer Jeff Lemire and artist Andrea Sorrentino. Now, if those names don't mean anything to you, here's what you need to know. Lemire is one of the most respected writers working in comics. His run on Green Arrow literally revitalized that character. His independent work on books like Essex County and Sweet Tooth has won basically every award the industry offers. His art doesn't just illustrate stories, it warps reality on the page. Panels bleed into each other, perspectives shift without warning. He makes you feel like you're losing your grip on what's real just by turning the page. Together, they'd already proven themselves on Green Arrow and the horror series Gideon Falls. So when DC handed them the Joker with zero restrictions, what they created was unlike any Joker story you've ever read. The story centers on Dr. Ben Arnell, a psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum. And right from the jump, Lemire does something brilliant. He makes Ben likable. This isn't some arrogant scientist begging to get humbled. Ben is genuinely a good guy. He loves his wife, he adores his young son, he coaches Little League. He's the kind of dad who reads bedtime stories every single night. He just happens to also believe, with the confidence of a man who has never truly been tested, that he can be the first person to actually diagnose the Joker. And at first, the therapy sessions seem to be working. The Joker is cooperative, almost charming. He tells Ben stories about his past crimes as if they're funny anecdotes at a dinner party. The conversations feel productive. Ben starts writing papers. His colleagues are impressed. Everything is going great. Until one night, Ben is tucking his son into bed and finds a children's book he's never seen before. It's called Mr. Smiles. The cover is bright and colorful, a grinning cartoon character in a little village called Happyville. Seems innocent enough. So Ben reads it to his son, and the story starts normal. Mr. Smiles goes on little adventures, meets his friends, but then, without warning, the tone shifts. The illustrations get darker. The story turns violent. Blood appears on the pages, and by the end of the book, Mr. Smiles has done something unspeakable. Ben is shaken. Where did this book come from? His wife didn't buy it. His son doesn't know where he got it. And then things start happening at night. Strange sounds in the house. Objects moved. The feeling that someone has been inside their home. And Ben begins to suspect something impossible. That the Joker, locked inside a maximum security cell at Arkham Asylum, is somehow entering his house at night and standing over his son's bed. Here's where Sorrentino's art becomes the secret weapon of this entire series. See, in most comics, you can trust the panels. What you see drawn on the page is what's happening in the story. Sorrentino completely destroys that trust. Panels start overlapping, reality fractures. You literally cannot tell what's actually happening to Ben and what's inside his head. Issue 2 opens with a dream sequence that is one of the most unsettling things I've ever seen in a DC comic. Ben finds himself in a diner, but not just any diner. It's called Arkham's. Two-Face is the manager. Harley Quinn is the waitress. Every single Batman villain is just sitting there, eating breakfast, living normal lives. And the Joker is in the booth next to him, smiling, acting like they're old friends. When Ben wakes up, he can't tell if he's actually awake. This is the genius of the story. The Joker isn't physically doing anything to Ben. He's not poisoning him. He's not threatening his family. He's doing something far worse. He's making Ben question the nature of his own reality. Every conversation they have in Arkham plants another seed of doubt. Every session pushes Ben a little further from the shore of sanity. And then comes the gut punch that ends issue 2. We discover that the weeks and months Ben thought he'd been spending working on the Joker's case, it's been over a year. His wife has left him. She took their son. Ben has been living alone in his house, talking to a family that isn't there, going through the motions of a life that no longer exists, and he had absolutely no idea. The final page of issue 2 shows Ben Arnell staring into a mirror and painting his face like a clown. Issue 3 is where everything collides. Ben, now fully under the Joker's influence, breaks the Joker out of Arkham Asylum. And what follows is essentially a guided tour of Gotham's underworld as the Joker introduces Ben to his real world, the chaos, the violence, the absolute freedom of madness. They encounter Killer Croc in the sewers, in one of the most horrifying visual sequences Sorrentino has ever drawn, rendered entirely in deep blood-soaked red. But the Joker isn't done. He has one final request for Ben. He wants him to go to his family, his real family, the wife and son who left him, and he wants Ben to kill them. This is the Joker's endgame. Not escape, not chaos. He wants to prove a theory that any good man, given enough time and close proximity to true madness, will become a monster. Ben arrives at his family's home. He has a gun. He's standing in the darkness of his son's bedroom. And then his boy wakes up, and his face is painted like a clown, and he says, "Daddy, take me with you." And in that single moment, something breaks through the madness. Whether his son's painted face is real or hallucination, we'll never truly know. And that's the point. What matters is that Ben sees what he's becoming reflected in his child. He sees the infection spreading, and for the first time in the entire story, he chooses to stop. The ending of Killer Smile is controversial among fans, and I think unfairly so. Some wanted a bloodbath, some wanted a definitive twist. But what Lemire gave us is something far more disturbing than violence. He gave us ambiguity. Because we genuinely don't know how much of what we just read actually happened. Was the Mr. Smiles book real? Was the Joker actually in Ben's house? Or did a perfectly sane man simply crack under the weight of staring into the abyss every day at work? Lemire and Sorrentino aren't interested in answering that. They're interested in the question itself. And that's what elevates Killer Smile above being just another Therapist Goes Crazy retread. Yes, the premise echoes Harley Quinn's origin. Lemire knows that. He's counting on it. Because the real horror isn't that the Joker corrupts people. We already knew that. The real horror is the suggestion that maybe the Joker doesn't have to do anything at all. Maybe just being near him is enough. Maybe madness isn't something that's inflicted on you. It's something that was always inside you, waiting for permission to come out. The final image of the series is Ben Arnell sitting in a cell in Arkham Asylum, the same building where he used to be a doctor. And honestly, that one image is more frightening than any panel of violence in any Joker story ever published. If you've never read Joker Killer Smile, go find it. It's only 3 issues. You can read it in under an hour. But I promise you, you'll be thinking about it for a lot longer than that.